Welcome back to a brand new episode of Spill the Alpha. This is episode number 35, and this week I'm interviewing Wartooth. This episode will be a little bit different as Wartooth is not trading much and focuses more on the building side of things in crypto. We will discuss the process of understanding that day trading is not what she wants to do in the space, how to make a living in crypto without speculating, how someone can actually get a job in crypto, and much more. This is just a reminder that we are recording these episodes live on Twitter Spaces, so if you ever want to tune in while we're live and even ask our guests any questions yourself, make sure to follow the IDEX account at IDEX.io. So as always, let's jump right into it. I'm your host Delta, you're listening to Spill the Alpha number 35, and please welcome my guest, Queen Wartooth. Protocol, that's who we focus on, but we thought of starting to bring people from the other edges of crypto. So it's going to be really interesting to have this conversation with you. We can start everything. Well, first of all, welcome to everyone to another episode of Spill the Alpha. I think this is episode 35. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you guys will enjoy it. And Wartooth, thank you so much for coming as a guest, as the first builder guest. I hope you're going to enjoy this interview. Talk, whatever you want to call this.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. I've liked the series of spaces so far. It's been just interesting people all around, so I hope I can live up to it.
I'm sure you will, and thank you so much. This means everything. For those who don't know, Queen Wartooth has been building so much for the last couple of years, from dealing with NFT project that she's building for like a year and a half or however long that was, and from other projects she's been involved in. Super interesting person. I really enjoy watching her profile from a little bit of a different direction from the usual traded talk. So if you don't follow her, I really recommend you check out her profile and give her a follow. And before we jump into the questions, I want to remind everyone that on the bottom right corner, you have a button like a chat box icon. You can click on that and you can leave any questions that you have to Wartooth, to me, whatever it might be. And for those who are not shy, and you shouldn't be shy because we don't bite, towards the end of the space, you can request to be a speaker and talk to us directly and join in the conversation. And one last thing, we just added to IDEX, to the new platform, 2 new markets. You can now trade BNB and SUI. You can trade them gas-free. The IDEX Omnichain allows you to deposit with many different chains with no slippage for deposits or withdrawals, no matter what size it is. And we just added 2 new chains, Mantle and BNB, so you can deposit straight into the IDEX Omnichain with no issues whatsoever. Trade with up to 20x leverage. We right now have the points program. You can collect points with every single trade you make, depending on your volume. And every end of the week, once a week, you can claim those points to get IDEX tokens. So no need for like speculation on the points or whatever. You can cash out once a week and enjoy those tokens. Make sure to check that out. If you go to my profile, you'll see a link, a referral link, in my bio, and you can use that to have, I think it's 5% off on all the fees forever. That's that. So we can jump right into you, Wartooth. So tell me a little bit about your background, because I've known you for like 2.5, 3 years now, but I actually have no idea how did you come into the space. So how did you get into the crypto space?
So funny enough, it was through Twitter. I came from FinTwit, I guess, and was just trading like stock stuff. And by trading, I mean just losing money. Like I came in like 2019-ish, 2020 before the lockdowns with everybody else. I was just shitposting and starting to get a little bit of a follow from doing that. And I made a post about a coin. I think it was Taco, but it wasn't a coin. It was a stock. It was a stock for Del Taco I was talking about. And somebody DM'd me and was like, hey, that's so cool that like you're repping Taco. Like, do you like the product? I actually made that. And I was like, whoa, like you made Del Taco? That no way. Like I thought I was getting scammed or something. We figured it out eventually that he was talking about his coin that he had made, Taco, and you could crunch it and like reduce the supply. That was my.
And this was in 2020 or
2020,
2017?
Yeah.
Okay.
2020, it was food DeFi summer.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, he gave me like a little bit of ETH and showed me how to set up a wallet and stuff because I was like fascinated by this little online casino thing that I had found. And from there it was, just history. I started messing with it, playing with it, learning it, working here, making a lot of good decisions, bad decisions, meeting a lot of great people. And yeah, it all came from Taco. I feel like I lost you guys.
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, there we go. Am I back though?
Yeah, you're back. I can hear you now.
Oh, okay.
So you were talking that gave you some ETH and you just started jumping into everything.
And then, yeah, started working.
Mm. So you're not into like trading stocks or anything anymore, right?
No, I still trade majors. Like I still, and by trade, I mean I buy them when I feel like they have crashed a lot or people are really overreacting to something. And then I just hold them probably for a while. But, and then I'll do little things with meme coins here and there if it pops off. But I'm not like a high frequency trader, a trader even once a week.
Okay. Well, getting into, well, I mean, today as well, and also in your beginning of like getting exposed to meme coins and like on-chain shenanigans and whatnot, what do you feel like were the biggest challenges that you've had? I mean, this is usually trade, like a specifically trader's question, but I'm interested to hear from your perspective too.
Probably just hearing through the noise, like everybody, like, and probably even traders too, and discerning what is a cool product to use that actually has a use case and stuff, and what trades even, what meme coins and stuff do I think are going to do well or capture attention, and then that expectation versus the reality,
Hmm.
of like, okay, well that was actually just like shilled by like some random person, and he shilled like 5 more things after. So, but I think adapting to that and realizing like, okay, so now you just mute that guy, or you sort of make a mental note that like, all right, he's not so great at meme coin alpha, he's just shilling anything. But yeah, I think just separating out what is true and fake, what is real, what is sustainable, which is very
Hmm.
little in the space.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point because I do feel like in this space, unless only if you're focused in on majors alone, like Bitcoin, Ether, maybe like a few big altcoins like Solana and BNB
Yeah.
or whatnot, the space is pretty toxic and very, very confusing. And it's very easy to fall into like the trap of the local KOL shilling something and you buying into that being the future and whatnot, and then you just end up carrying the bag. And this connects well to the next question, which is like I said earlier, and that's probably how most people know you, that you're not really a trader, you're busy doing other things in the space. And do you feel like that's one of the main reasons that you decided to like step back from the trading space because how predatory it is and how hard it is to know what exactly you're getting involved into?
Oh, big time. I think I just recognized that I didn't have an edge there. I was just having fun, and so when it was fun, when all the numbers are going up and you almost always, make money, there's seasons like that in the market where it's fun to trade. But when it's actually difficult and the people who like do it as a living come out, that's when I leave. Like, I don't have any business there anymore. It's not a fun place for me. I just lose money. So I either had to keep pushing at it, which some people do and get really good at it, or I had to realize like that's not my edge. That's not how I can make money, and I need to be here to make money right now. It's still fun to play meme coins and to take, if I see something and think like, oh yeah, I've got to buy a little bit of that just for the history of it. Usually, then it's a pretty good trade, right?
Hmm.
But if I'm just trading to try and like make my bills or make a career for myself, I had to be realistic and realize like I just don't, I'm not that guy, I don't have the history with it.
Yeah. And I feel like that's a really healthy point of view, especially for meme coin trading, where you just tell yourself, okay, I don't have an edge. I'm just having fun. And it's just like, because I treat anything, meme coin on-chain trading type thing as gambling, right?
Yeah.
Way, like obviously trading majors is also, one can argue that it is also a form of gambling, but it's not even comparable to trading shitcoins on chain. So I feel like having this same mental state as if you're going to the casino to play blackjack when you're telling yourself, okay, I have a very tiny edge here, if any at all, and I'm just gonna have fun trying to, make some extra money.
Remembering that first part, because everyone sort of does well, I think, at least for the people that I've interacted with, they're pretty good about spending money on chain, right? Like they'll put $500 in a meme coin, and if it goes to zero, they're kind of pissed, but not really. But then you have somebody who does think they have an edge, like, oh, you don't understand. My boy is talking to Barron Trump and says that like this is going to be it. And whatever they've heard, it gets them to that mania, that excitement, right? Of like, oh my God, this celebrity is involved or this integration is happening. And that's when you mess up because now you pull like the money you were saving for something or like $3,000 that you really couldn't part with because you're just so sure that it's gonna 10x, like at least, bro. And it doesn't. You lose your money, you get washed out, and then you realize why this gambling thing is a joke and why it can be a problem. Like
Yeah, 100%.
if you're just going to have fun and understand you're spending money. You're not investing it. Could you get super rich? Sure. Go to the gas station and buy a scratch off ticket. You could also get super rich. But are you going to spend your rent on scratch off tickets? You shouldn't. So for me, when I was, in the markets and stuff, that's why I'm not a trader, because it's purely, I have zero edge, even really trading majors. The only edge I have is that I believe in the industry long term. So dips
Yeah.
to me are like, okay, it's a 20% off sale. Hooray.
Which can also, I mean, I would call that an edge as well. Just having that patience and not having that urgency of like making millions tomorrow, being able to survive all those drawdowns while everyone else is getting greedy and levering themselves up to crazy numbers. That's why you're still here, right? That's why you're surviving.
Survive is the big one there. People underestimate that let's say that $3,000 that you were playing with, let's say you did get lucky and you blew it up to 30,000. You're not going to stop. You're going to go put that somewhere else and try to compound it even more, because now you have gotten false data that you do have an edge, and you won't survive like that. Then somebody is going to notice and they're going to take your money. Like somebody. And if you are not super savvy, really good, and you have a legitimate edge, then you're going to keep making money. But if you don't and you just got lucky, I think that, that all that has to happen is the market shifts a little bit against you, and now you have liquidation notices and you have to come up with extra money. And that's where like that fear and that scarcity makes you gamble even harder, and you end up losing way more than you ever intended. It's like, how did I end up pawning my wife's wedding ring? Like, how did we get here?
Yeah, and I feel like it's a lesson that most people learn after their first bull market, right? Because, you have a crazy bull market, everyone's
Yep.
printing money, you think
Mm-hmm.
you're a genius and you think you know everything you have to know, and then reality kicks in when the bear market starts and most people give back everything they've made very, very fast.
All of it. Yep.
Yeah.
In
So
some way
that's
or another. It's so funny to watch. It may not be from a trade. It may be from a crazy girlfriend. It may be from a, I don't know, bad business investment, but they will give it back. It will come and leave just as easily. Money is flighty like that.
Yeah, I don't think I mean, of course, there's examples against it, but most people I know that, started trading in the space, their first bull market was exactly like this. They made a bunch of money, they gave most of it back, realizing what they have to fix, and then they just go back at it. And I think that's what like separates success and like, the people who like fully give up on the space as a whole and say, okay, crypto's a scam, bye bye. It's people understanding that, okay, I either put in the work, improve myself,
Yep.
or like try to do something else in the space and develop myself in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So I mean, knowing that the highly likelihood of people losing everything in the space, why do you think people still keep trying? Like, why do you think the average CP member, still falls for the shills and, doesn't learn the lesson?
Um, well, first off, because some of the marketing is really good. Some of it really is, and it makes you feel, specifically back in 2020, not so much anymore, but it made you feel like it was the future. We were building this really cool thing. Like trades can be the same way, right? It looks like such a great opportunity, but there's a reason that it's, like marketing and emotion and stuff, and you're at its head. It's not real. It's not true.
Yeah. And okay, so you started trading, you saw it's not the direction you want to stay at, and you decided to fully pivot into the other side of the space, which is building companies, working with companies, whether if it's, I'm not exactly sure what you were doing in different places, but I know that you were working on different projects doing different things.
Tons of them.
Come again?
I said tons of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, many people think that the only way to make money in crypto is by trading. That's obviously the biggest and most, luxurious and most, the loudest part of the space. But obviously that's not true. So I want to discuss that with you. How were you able to make a living in the space if not for trading? How did you get involved with all those other, projects and, get a job in them?
Yeah, so writing is probably the long story short, but this actually is kind of like a huge point of why it is I'm building what I'm building at all. And that's that, like, you come into crypto, almost everybody's first experience is trading, either in a meme coin or an NFT or just buying a coin. Like, that's how everybody does get started. But that's like and everybody's dream, right? Especially male people in the space. That's like the fighter pilot or the NFL player. Like you're a trader. I trade, you know? But what they don't see is in the background, a lot of these guys, most of these guys have secondary sources of income, or they already have money coming in that gives them the ability to be wrong, make mistakes, and still survive. So when I started in the space, and I did try and kind of get started with trading, but I found very quickly that like I could make more money and get more, I don't know, attention, I guess, in my content by just talking about trade than I could by actually taking the trades. So even though, like, I don't know, I didn't really know much what I was talking about, I was brand new, just the fact that I was talking about market stuff got people to interact with me. And then, of course, when you do something and people see that you're good at it, they immediately want to capture that value for themselves. So I just started writing. I started doing things kind of like, I don't know, I would do like a white paper for a friend and re-explain it to where it was like extremely simple and easy to understand. And then we would kind of mesh the two together and I would get paid for that. And it was fractional work, basically. I didn't have enough experience to like get a marketing job or even really a community manager job because nobody knew. But I did find that I had an edge in content. If I wrote, people read it, people followed me. I started building a following. And so I kind of worked backwards from there of what worked and then would offer people like, hey, I've done this for my friends' white papers, or I've done this for my friends' websites. I've audited it. I can audit yours. It's not going to cost you very much money. And I really think I can make a difference. And most people will take you up on that just because you're like plucky and you want to work. And from there, then I started building a portfolio and where I could show people, hey, this is what their website was like before, and here's what it is after. And here's, you know, the differences in my thinking of why I made these changes. And then eventually, as I got better at it, and here's the data that shows that I was right, that we did get more signups, we did get more stuff, we did lock TVL. I did, you know, like, I don't know, reduce these costs to this. But that only came from having experience doing it, and that only came from doing it for free and finding what it was that I was naturally pretty good at, which for me was writing.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are really afraid of trying to jump into the water of businesses without anything they think will be useful in particular, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Like, I remember I was in Netherlands. The guys from Coinbase invited me to an event, and you know, while we were talking there, they were telling me that they're looking to hire people. They don't care what experience other people have. They just look to try to see what skills you have that will be translatable to skills that they need.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like so many people in this space have skills that are fully translatable to other things that they don't even might think are, relevant, but they are.
Yeah.
And this relates a lot to, just jumping into the water and quitting a job or something. Because a lot of people say that they don't have time to study crypto and like getting better at trading or DeFi stuff and whatnot because they have a full-time job and like they're too busy. And this might be a really good option for those people. Just jumping into the water, getting jobs with crypto, whatever it might be, in community management, content creation, like you've said. I feel like that's probably a really good move to people who want to stick into the industry and just like be more active in it.
I think so too. You'll learn products, you'll learn not, and like that's a big edge in trade. If you've used one of these products and you know, like you're not on board in the next 50 people, my friend, let alone 500 million or whatever you said in your white paper, you know that that coin's probably a short, right? Maybe not now, maybe not like in our markets, but eventually when these things start tracking closer to like what they should actually be worth, that kind of like ability to deep dive will not only serve you, you can sell that ability. You can make just a little like summary of your own knowledge, and people are pretty lazy out there. They'll pay $1 for that summary. So finding little things like that, finding little jobs to do is how you find wherever your edge is. And I think everybody hopes that it's trading. I won't even lie, when I first came to the space, I wish I was a really cool like day trader and high frequency trader, but I'm not. And so you can LARP and you can pretend and you can edit your screenshots, or you can find what you're actually good at and make some money and then build something or do something, contribute to the space in other ways besides just trading.
Yeah, 100%. And honestly, I can just by looking at different statistics, I mean, I'm using a lot of different journaling services, and one of them has a dashboard where they show all their user data. Obviously, it's anonymized and everything, but they show average data numbers. And just by looking at those numbers, I can tell you that I'm certain that just by, buying dips on spot and just trading majors, you're outperforming 95% of the people in this space. So,
I
it might
sure
be not,
am.
it might not sound as luxurious as like being I'm a day trader and I'm in the trenches of I don't know, shitcoin swap or whatever. But, it's probably the best way to go at it for 99.9% of people.
Yeah, it is. And those, everyone keeps trying at it, but you have to balance it, right? With like, all right, what am I really doing here? What's the dirty work that I'm doing that nobody else is doing that I'm willing to do? And why am I getting money? Even in a trade, like, am I buying these people's scary ass liquidations? Am I performing that service right now? Am I doing something? Do I deserve to be paid for that? Like, those are all kind of questions you can ask. And then if you look at yourself and realize, like, I can't stick to trading or I can't stick to journaling, I'm sorry. I can't journal. I can only do it if it feels good. Uh-oh. Like you're not willing to get better at it. So you're either naturally gifted and a savant, which, all right, try it for a month. Are you? No? Okay. So then you've got to improve at this or simply pick something else because that's not your path. Do you want to be right or do you want to make money?
Exactly. So if someone is listening to the space and they're kind of like on the fence about, trying to get a job in the crypto space, what advice would you give someone in terms of like how they could just jump into it and get exposure to different jobs and different projects that are looking for people and things like that?
Find a need, fill a need. Do it for free for a couple times and post about it. And you may suck at what it is you think you're doing. You may do like a market wrap up and nobody cares. Nobody really interacts with it. It's not very good. That's fine. Try a few more times. And if that's not it, try a video. Are you not afraid to be on camera? That's an edge. Do you have a good voice? That's an edge. Are you good with like Photoshop? Can you make memes? Can you make stuff like that? Try it and see, because something you'll find will stick. And when you find that something that sticks, you find your own edge, wherever it is, with your life experience and background and everything you brought with you. Find what it is that you could do to be of service, I guess, to somebody. Like, can you wrap up something? Can you user test something and write a review? We need that badly right now. People to just write their reviews of these products and what they think. If you're good at it, if you can be charming with it and put some soul into it, you have a huge edge because everything is AI slop or it's just, mediocre. Find where you can be better than mediocre and then you have stuff to point to. Then you have things where you can go to a project that just launched, a meme coin or a project that you're seeing all over the timeline or just something you find that you like and say, hey, look, I make these weekly market summaries. They get a few hundred views and, about 40 likes per, but I'd love to make one for your protocol. And at that point, leave the pitch there. See if they're even interested. See if they'd be interested in that just as a concept. And if they hit you back at all, schedule a call with them. Talk to them, get to know them, make sure that they can see you're a person, you see their people. And from that point, you can just sell whatever it is that you think that you can do for them, be it an entire role that you think you can take over marketing or something little. Something small like, hey, I can just help keep your meetings organized. I'm a really good note taker. I just wanted to see if you guys were interested. If you're actually solving a pain point, people have a lot of money to spend and they don't really want to work that hard in this industry and maybe all industries, but in this one specific. You see someone with a $9 billion raise or whatever, that should be a huge signal for you. Go follow them, go message them, see what they're up to, see what you can provide.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And like to add on it, I feel like a lot of people are just so afraid of getting rejected. You know, I feel like if people just get used to get comfortable with getting rejected, like the worst thing they can say is no, we're not interested, right? Or just ignore you. Just shooting out messages. I was actually just talking to PancakeSwap, PancakeSwap, Pancakes Bra a couple of days ago. And he was telling me that how he got a job in some project. I don't even remember what it was. He just DM'd them saying, "Hey, I can do this and that. Give me a job." And a couple of weeks later, they just replied to him saying, "Okay, yeah, sounds good." And almost every protocol, every project, whatever it is, almost always looking for people.
People. Yep. So, and taking on a role like that, Pancakes is awesome, but he is awesome. And so when they, do some background diligence on that and see oh shit, Pancakes Bra wants a job. Yeah, I would say yes too, immediately. It
Yeah.
may be harder if you don't have that rep yet or that social capital yet.
Yeah.
But if you
But
have a skill, you can pitch it.
yeah, and you gotta build it, right? And I was actually, I can see that we have Small News in the crowd, who's a good friend of mine, and a couple of months ago, maybe a year ago, he was talking to me, telling me, asking me, how do I build the crowd? What do I what am I supposed to tweet? What am I supposed to do? And I told him, just do something. You'll tweet for a year without having a single like. No one's going to notice you, but eventually someone will find you. You will get, the eyes of the people and whatever it is. You just have to have fun because that's, I feel like, one of the most important things because that's what will drive you to continue doing that, right? Because you're still having fun, you're enjoying it, so you don't care if you get views or not. And then suddenly the thing will just start to pick up its pace on its own naturally. So you just gotta pump up that content and try out different things, try out posting about markets, trying out posting about summaries of different spaces or live streams and whatnot, and something will catch. 100%. As long as you put in the work and give it time, it will eventually happen.
100%. And yeah, honing your craft, whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is you found, it's either going to really stick with you. Like you can't do anything else. Those are the people that make it in trading. They don't, they'll do it for 3 years without making any money and taking all kinds of other jobs because they just can't stop. Something calls to them. Find that thing that calls. If it's drawing, if it's writing, if it's, anything, just find it and then realize that you're going to have to hone it. You have to get good. You have to provide a valuable something, right? And when you provide value, someone will pay for it. And the more people that pay for it, the more people want to buy it. It's kind of like a feedback loop, right? The more people that think you're cool, the more people think you're cool. So you have to get people that will just accept and paid. And then you have this whole on-chain of things that you've done. And that with protocols like mine and talents and a lot of things that are coming out that you will eventually be able to export and prove and very easily say, here's all of the things that I've done. And once you can do that and people start noticing you, the work comes to you. Like your funnel is now just making whatever it is that you love making or doing whatever it is you love doing. And that may be to supplement that you love trading, that you need to have, like many traders, secondary and tertiary sources of income so that you can do this job and you can learn and you can pay the dues that it takes to find whatever little fleeting edge that you have in the market over and over and over again.
Yeah. And I mean, just like how traders have drawdowns, right? In trading and just periods of losing and whatnot that can be really hard on you mentally. I'm sure that it can also happen outside of the trading space where you will suddenly find yourself without any job or with projects rejecting you and, being stuck in this zone where nothing really happens. And I'm sure that happened to you as well as it has to almost everyone. How did you get past those harsh moments?
Prayer, faith, God, praying, literally sitting outside, praying and crying of like, I just need something. I need a client. I need something to come through for me. And, I don't know how scalable that is or repeatable, but that's been a big edge for me. And if you don't have that, I guess just relying on whatever it is that you've built your self-esteem on. So I hope that it's not photoshopping screenshots or something. I hope it's real and valuable. Because if it is, that's when you just keep going. The same way in a drawdown, you might have to readjust your strategy or take a break. You might have to readjust your strategy or take a break from your content, but then come back to it. Or whatever service that you're providing.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Well, I want to move and talk a little bit more about you. You're predominantly active, at least in the last couple of years, in the NFT space, right? What made you attracted to the NFT space?
I love NFTs. I really do. I think they are such a good use case of crypto. They work. I just heard a talk today that basically when you're selling anything, right, on the internet, you're selling traffic or you're selling seats to something. And selling traffic is like just basically like, I don't know what you guys do. Kind of you're trying to create something huge that lots and lots of people use. And it's not necessarily about getting one individual, right? But if you're selling seats, you need something individual and you need a reason that that person feels it's an experience for them. That's like very, very hard to get when you're making like a lending app or something. But if you make a little guy, you make an NFT, and if you have this NFT, you can access this app. Like now all of a sudden you have this completely new product and this completely new set of emotions to appeal to with people via art or belonging or a pet or any kind of thing that you can do because we've translated now a blockchain token into something visual. And humans being very visual, I think NFTs are just such an obvious use case for crypto, especially the new ones like 6551s, 404s. Those are all super cool. And we haven't really seen a ton of use cases with that yet because everybody got so burned on the last like speculative NFT run. But the tech underneath it is solid. That's something that like when NFTs are at their darkest, like we were talking about, and they're in a drawdown, what keeps you going? Knowing that like they are a cool concept, they are a cool technology, and they can be leveraged.
Yeah, well, you mentioned there are new types of NFTs. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Just different standards, rules, and stuff. The one we're using is a 6551, which basically means it's like the metadata is constantly changing. So your NFT is constantly changing. Every time you'd refresh your wallet, it might look different. Or if you, for us, complete an achievement or get a paintbrush or change the skin of your dragon, that stuff reflects as opposed to you having to mint a new NFT. It just like auto updates.
Mhm. Okay, that's pretty cool. And you mentioned the monetary value of NFTs. I feel like like people were making fun in the last year or so or two of NFTs and how they're dropping in value, at least the bigger ones. And I feel like you're right. I do feel like NFTs really do have a cool tech behind them. I feel like they can be implemented in a lot of real world use cases. Like for example, I don't know, like obviously it's a little cringe at least looking at it from the outside crypto space world. I don't know, if I'm going to a live show of a band I like and I get like an NFT type of ticket, that would be very cool. It's a good memory to have, you know? It's just like having a I don't know. It's like people save their tickets from like their favorite band live show and whatever. I just feel like because of trading, because of how tied the monetary value of everything we do in crypto is tied to like the whole space, it kind of like it can be a setback sometimes as well, you know?
Big time. Yeah, absolutely. And trying to overcome the reputation NFTs have is hard, especially with non-crypto natives. But what you're describing there is like, yeah, there's such beautiful use cases for ticketing and just anything where you're selling an experience now becomes a permanent attestation on the blockchain that you were there. And that has all kinds of implications, like social reputation. You can prove you were at Coachella or something, or you can prove that you were at this guy's first concert. That kind of stuff will matter later, especially as we start looking more of like these online identities or these on-chain identities as our front-facing identity more so than our personal identity, which we already see in crypto a lot, but like that's still a very foreign concept in Web 2, that I am Queen Wartooth and that my friends are like cats and anime characters. But it won't be
Yeah.
forever. People are catching on, and soon, your TikTok with your face or your TikTok with who you are may be better served as a persona or something. And at that point, I think on-chain proof of things you've done outside the space or outside like the digital realm will become the new form of social clout.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely see a world where that happens, especially as the internet will just continue to be more and more integrated into our lives, right? I was actually just having a discussion about it with a friend last night, talking about how nowadays I have a lot of people from crypto Twitter that I've known for so many years that I would say that they're as good friends of mine as people I've met hundreds of times in real life. Obviously there is, there is you got to take it with a pinch of salt, right? But I would say that my relationship with people that I've interacted with daily, on the internet, on CT or whatever it might be, is as good quality as with other people that I've met hundreds of times, So having the internet and like the whole internet experience being more and more integrated into our lives, I can definitely see something like, if crypto is the money of the world, online, then NFTs can definitely be like the memorabilia, you could say, or something like that of that world.
Yeah, and proof, all of these things will maybe not require like, I don't know, real legitimate proof, but social proof. And those friendships and stuff that you have created, they all have like implicit value, right? We were talking about social capital earlier. That's all stuff that can be put into like data, and that data on the blockchain would be valuable, like to see those connections, to know those connections, to know like, all right, we're seeing, I think, Zapper right now doing this. Your friends, quote unquote, or your on-chain people that you have followed and follow you, they buy these coins. You buy these coins. You might also like these coins. Like being able to have recommendations and friendship, like attestations and stuff, all based on blockchain transactions is going to be huge. But people need a way to visually identify what that means. And I think the easiest way to do that is NFT tokens too, to some extent, if you own tokens and stuff. But to go into somebody's wallet, and see their tokens is still kind of like unfriendly UI. as opposed to just seeing a bunch of badges all over their profile on something, or seeing, like, I don't know, what if you could prove like your P&L or prove that you were in certain calibers of traders or something? If you could prove that with an NFT, that NFT now has value simply because it was hard to get. It took like proof of something
Yeah,
happening.
yeah. I feel like it'll probably take, I don't know, maybe a couple of months if a crazy bull market starts, or maybe a couple of years if it'll be a slower process. But I feel like I said earlier, this whole forced connection of the monetary value of NFTs to the NFT, but to the NFTs themselves will probably take a very long time to, fix and make people realize that it's not 100% just that. You know what I mean? Because I do feel like it
Yeah.
harmed the NFT space a lot.
Yeah, you kind of have to take all mentions of crypto off of what you're doing for it to work as a consumer level right now. And we've been pitching and I don't know, selling to each other for so long in this silo of just Twitter to Twitter, kind of crypto to crypto, especially salesmen and people who are buying the product. But now as we're trying to expand and lots of things are trying to get out to this like reach from people who maybe don't really know that much about crypto. They just know what it is now. Stripping away things like NFT and just calling them achievements, or like stripping away something like blockchain and just calling it like immutable database or something, or provable history. Something like that then lets people explore the blockchain part of it if they're curious, but they get to see and feel the value prop first without having to rely on somebody's white paper. Like they're actually touching these things, using them, and the fact that it's an NFT should be something that's sort of like a polite footnote and lets them expand into that if they want. But really, it's more about the experience. What are you getting, from this Coachella NFT? Well, it links to your profile here with Chip Social or something that shows and proves that you went there. That's something that like the value of that already sets off ideas in that person's mind, and they don't
Yeah.
really care if they have to connect a wallet. There's this new protocol, TYB. Yeah, try your best. TYB.xyz if you want to look at it. They are doing a beautiful job of this. They're built on AVAX. It's a blockchain protocol, but you would never ever know it. And most of their users that they have, like thousands of users right now, their very first wallet was with TYB. Like their introduction to crypto was using this platform without any knowledge that it was a crypto platform. That stuff just comes into the back. And that's how I think that it's going to be in the future if we are going to, cleanse the image, I guess, that we've had of
Yeah.
NFTs.
It's just, I feel like it got so pulled in. I mean, obviously we had punks going crazy, and then everyone copied the whole profile picture aspect of things. Like no integration into anything, not even games, not any interaction with the NFT, only like profile pictures and that's it. Where like we discussed, this whole like having those experiences and achievements and things like that. I feel like that can be such a cool way to actually take NFTs to the next level. Like, for example, imagine if you're, I mean, right now IDEX is running, it's like early stages of the new platform that they've built. So there's a lot of different ways to monetize on it. There's a market making program. You can earn points and cash out on them. So imagine if suddenly, like IDEX starts this like weekly leaderboard of like the number one person with like the most points or like the highest volume and whatnot. And like each of them gets an NFT, right? It has zero monetary value. Like there is no reason to sell it because then the person who was buying it, you can see that he bought it. So obviously he's not the one who made it and earned it. So it's basically useless. But having those NFTs is pretty cool. Like having that NFT in your wallet saying like, yeah, you made it in the top, like top three P&L wise in the platform beta stages or whatnot. That can be a really cool thing because I can imagine myself really liking that kind of thing in my wallet.
Yeah. And imagine you go for an interview one day, right? Or you're trying to get for a prop desk and they say, tell me about yourself. You now have something that you can point to and pull up and say, well, I got these, 6 NFTs for this performance and this thing, and I did these market making things. And you can start to prove not only that you've talked the talk, right? That you know what to say, but you've done it. Like you've actually done these things. And that kind of experience is valuable. So being able to signal with an NFT, I have valuable experience, is an experience by itself.
Exactly. So I want to go talk a little bit more about your project. You've been building your own project, Dragon Academy, for a couple of years now. How did that come to happen?
Actually, just since March. We're a little bit newer than that. Just since
Oh, okay, cool.
it might feel like that. I've been talking about it a lot. So I had an idea called Dio, right, which was basically to sort of replicate my experience on chain, decentralized income opportunities. And my idea was basically a bounty board where you could prove that you'd taken training on how to do a piece of fractional work. Let's just say writing a weekly summary for a product or a little mini module on that. You could do one, you could practice it. So you'd make an example of one, and then you could get feedback from us, from other people who had done it, from the partner that we're doing it with. And you'd have from there, like, proof that you know how to do it and proof that you've done it before and an example. You'd also have the ability to, like, level up, I guess, quote unquote, basically get your feedback better over time. And I imagined that partnered with different protocols and stuff that would want things like education on how to use their protocols, feedback, user testing, content, all those kinds of non-technical things that projects need. And I imagined that they would sort of meet together at this market, right? They're looking for 4-star and 5-star quality content. We have 4-star and 5-star quality users. So I started building this, and it was just like really, I don't know, kind of ugly and not fun. And I realized, like, how are we going to get people to actually do this? Who wants to work? And from there, we decided to gamify it. I talked to a few friends that had built communities before and had explained really hard concepts. And one of them was Hudson Jameson, who wrote EIP6. I don't know if you guys know what EIPs are, but basically he was one of the first, like, writers of the rules that govern Ethereum. He's
Yeah.
a big player, and he angel invested in the project that day and was like, yeah, I want you to build this. I want you to build what this is and make it in a way that it's accessible, it's fun for people, that they can have some sort of, like, interaction with the app that is not just working, like they have something to do, earn an achievement, feed a dragon. And back then it was called Baby Dragon Academy. Since then, we've grown up a little bit. It's Dragon Academy. And the concept is basically exactly what I was explaining before. We give people the knowledge that they need. We teach them about crypto concepts, different protocols, different ways to make money in the space. And as they are progressing through this curriculum, they're interacting on chain. So they're getting immersed in actually using these products. They're creating small pieces of work for their portfolio and practicing, getting to kind of put their feet in different areas to see where their edge might be. And they're getting feedback from our partners, from us, and from other users. As that happens, they're also building tons of these attestations. Every NFT achievement, every little talent track that you go down, every little side quest that you do that earns you something cool for your dragon also creates a lot of proof that you know what you're talking about. You've at least been exposed to the material. You've passed quizzes on it. You have done things related to that, and you've used protocols that are examples of these concepts. From there, our partners can then sort through and say, I want to airdrop my token to users who know these concepts, have done this kind of work for me, and would be, create, let's say, 4 or 5-star content. Those are the people I'm interested in. They then have a way to meet and create fractional work with each other, like through the form of bounties of and when I say fractional work, by the way, what I mean is a little piece of work, a piece of content, a piece of something, a task, like not a full role, but a piece of fractional work. That's what the entire academy is for. But we've used 6551 NFTs to make it a little bit more exciting. We've put a lot of, like, heart and soul into the art. Your NFT gets hungry and it changes and it looks really miserable if you don't go feed it every day. And the only way to feed it every day is to create one of these transactions, these attestations that says, yes, I logged on every day and I learned.
That sounds really awesome. So you're basically like giving people skills, teaching them things, helping them almost build like this on-chain CV that can later be used for getting jobs, for potentially, helping projects decide who they're airdropping things to and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Just realigning the incentives back together. I love how you guys are doing your points program. I think that's super upfront, very transparent. You can take them out per week. But we're going to see the points meta, especially the people who do a lot of work on the front end and they don't get anything on the back end. Or they somehow get a gotcha of, like, oh, you were American, or oh, you interacted with this IP, and they get nothing. I think we're going to see that change to, okay, we will directly just trade you tokens. Like, we do this and you get this. And in that kind of an exchange, now we have the same distribution model that we saw with, like, the Uniswap airdrop. It was based on people who used it. It was a happy, exciting reward. It wasn't something that people had to farm. And so it did its job. distributed that token to the people who should have held it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a really good point. I hated the whole, I mean, I just don't like the whole points meta where projects, give out points for months, if not years, long periods, and no one knows what they'll be used for. No one knows what are they going to be worth. And, it becomes just you work so much for something you have no idea what is it going to be worth. Now, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because on one hand, yeah, you can get a crazy airdrop and have it be worth like hundreds of thousands, if not millions or whatnot. On the other hand, and the most likely one is that it won't be worth much, right? So that's why with INX we took the approach, and I was really talking to the team, telling them that that's the way I think it should be done, and happily the team agreed with me. Where in advance, users know exactly how much they'll be making, and they can capitalize on it, enjoy it, while the platform's still young and growing. And yeah, I was actually talking to Victor last week, and he was showing me a wallet of some guy who made like $2.5 million in volume. Paid like $60 in fees and made like $1,600 in points. Um,
Dang.
yeah, so that's pretty cool. I mean, yeah, other people might like the idea of trading on some platform, earning points, or I don't know, earning points by staking, and hopefully making crazy numbers, not knowing what it will be worth. But being a conservative boomer such as I am, I prefer the upfront thing where you know what you'll be making and you just put in the work to get that.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think what people forget too is if they don't promise you anything, if they just say you're getting points, they can decide right up to the day that they TGE what it is that you're getting. They can change the rules because they never ever told you
Exactly.
what that. So I think we will see more like distribution based on your on-chain reputation. I think attestations will become really important. On-chain identity will become really important. And the very next step after that people will want to take is how do I make mine better? Like how do I signal to these protocols that I should be a recipient of these fabulous airdrops. And soon, I think it'll be you contribute, you start to build here, you do things that are good for the space.
Yeah, and I definitely think that the better the tech gets, in just the identification part and like categorizing wallets and things like that, which I do feel like we're still a little behind on that. We will see projects starting to filter out who they're airdropping things to. I might be wrong, but I do feel like you will start seeing some projects that if they see someone, collecting airdrops from different wallets, just sibling, I don't even know how to pronounce that word, but just doing it for the money's sake and then saying goodbye. Projects just, filtering those people out.
Yeah, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you want to? And
Yeah.
especially if they have, you could see that like these guys hold their tokens for an average of 2.5 hours, or they have dumped 77% of the allocations they've held. All of that data is blockchain data. It's public and it's starting to become aggregated and utilized. And, especially with AI being able to now handle tons and tons of data at one time. Yeah, your history.
Oop, we lost you. I don't know if it's my internet or Wartooth's, but can you guys hear me? Oh, yeah, it seems like we lost her.
Sorry about that. My alarm went off.
Yeah, no worries.
Anyway, yeah, you'll start to see more people. Their blockchain transactions matter, and all of that is going to be really important soon.
Yeah, 100%. Especially like, and I have one friend who's very, very ETH savvy. The poor dude has been holding ETH for like 7 years now. And and he was always telling me that he thinks having a wallet that is not doxed, just having activities on chain, collecting history, because people tend to separate wallets too much and things like that. So he thinks having one wallet with big history is going to be super important in the future, and it'll be interesting to see where that goes. But I definitely think that it's more likely we'll see a future where wallet history is a massive part of your internet identity almost.
Yep, I'm a little biased because I've been in that space, but I am
Yeah.
seeing lots of money going into that, lots of protocols being built around that, and the, I guess, concept of on-chain identities and on-chain reputation sort of coming to fruition, which is kind of scary for people in blockchain. You know, they've all been about privacy and not really knowing all this stuff, but the entire purpose of the blockchain is that it's public. It's
Yeah.
everyone can see it, you know, and so you sort of do have to stand on who you are on the blockchain. Now, that may not tie to who you are IRL, and it shouldn't, but who you are on the blockchain, you still have a reputation, whether you want to or not.
100%. So, talking about the privacy part of things, I want to switch to a different subject. We had last episode, we had a guest, Follis. I'm not sure if you know him, but he's a crypto trader. He's streaming and everything, and he's fully doxxed. So just like him, you're one of the few people in CT as well who are doxxed. What made you decide to do that?
Well, one, being a girl, to be honest with you, it's just sort of hard not to. But the biggest reason, I guess, now is because I think while it is like an identity thing, right? You don't really want, like, I don't want people to show up at my house. I don't want people to recognize me in real life. But I do want to be known as who I am when I'm trying to form a business, because that kind of skin in the game means that, yeah, I'm asking for people's money. I'm asking for their trust. I'm asking for them to trust me personally, not just my products, because we're pre-product right now. And if I do that, I think I have to give a little bit. I'm still funny about doxing. It's still like, I hate it having to have my camera on and all these meetings and all these different like players who now know my face and who I am and my real name. But I think it just gives you more skin in the game. And when you elevate yourself to a position of trust, meaning I'm going to take other people's money for a service, or I'm going to build something and hold other people's money, I think you owe it to people to have a little more skin in the game than just like, I'm Queen Wartooth, and if I wanted to, I could delete my Twitter and you'd never hear from me again. You know?
Yeah. Did you ever have someone recognizing you in the street?
No, but I have had someone show up IRL, and that was
Oh my God.
scary. Yep, it was
That's
awful.
terrifying.
I know.
So, me being a girl as well, you think I should dox too?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
edge.
Yeah, I remember Follis was telling me that he was walking in Dublin and someone just came up to him. Well, he was walking with his girlfriend. And he was like, "Oh, you're that crypto trader dude, right?" And I could just imagine this happening to me, maybe. And that's just
It could.
horrible.
It could, and yeah, it
Just
might be a little
hilarious.
awkward, but you know, then you say, "Yep, that's me." And if you're good
Yeah.
at your job or you're happy, then great. But if you've like rugged a bunch of shit, then maybe run.
Yeah, I feel like there's a point where it's probably worth doxing, especially if you're going into the building space, right? Like you said, it's a totally different area. But I was actually thinking about it. I was talking to Follis, telling him that I'm thinking about streaming, and I do agree with him that, especially in the streaming space, having your face attached to it and interacting with the audience in that way is a little bit extra, and it's a really good benefit. And that's one of the reasons his live streams in the crypto space, in the crypto sector at least, are super popular. I just feel like it takes a lot.
Yeah. And you're opening yourself up. You know, people will comment on your appearance, people comment on your
100%.
background. It's a new game, but it is a symbol of trust. And it is a way that people connect. You know, for better or worse, we can be in on cartoon characters all we want, but if we want to appeal to people who want, you know, to trust us and who are already in this mindset of like crypto's a scam, the fact you won't show your face is kind of weird to them, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Maybe it should be. Maybe we'd all be nicer if we had to use like our faces for our
Oh,
profiles.
100%. 100%. Everyone is so much braver than with their anon. And I've noticed it. I've been to a couple of crypto meetups. Um, some of them I actually didn't even mention who I am, but in others I did mention who I am, and I had a chance to meet a couple of people that I don't like in the space. A couple of big KOLs and all that type of thing. And you know, even though you do know there's a I even met a couple of people that we blocked each other and had big fights over the years and whatnot. And you know, you still shake hands. You still say, "Hey, good to see you." Like, it was all, you know, it was all mine. It was all mine. Like, yeah, now we're here in real life, and it's a totally different approach. You know, obviously there's the people that you'll never shake the hand of and whatnot, but it's you have to separate the two things. The online life and the, the crypto Twitter life and the real life are just two different things. I guess
100%.
that's why it's so hard for me to even see a future where I'm combining both.
Scary. It is. I'm glad you say that because I've never been to a crypto event and I always wondered, like, what do I do if I run into one of these people I've had beef with over the years? And I guess it sounds like it would just be like, it's just
Nothing
Twitter.
happens.
Nothing
Nothing
happens.
happens. You meet those people, you shake their hand, and that's it. Because again, it's very easy to be brave online and behind the keyboard, but then once you see that there's an actual person back there, you know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah,
you see it's a
human.
real person, and at the end of the day, yeah, they might have shitty morals, and they might be with an overall shitty approach to life, or I don't know what. You still see them saying hi to people and being polite to a certain degree and everything, right? So it's really hard to suddenly tell yourself, oh yeah, but he shilled that token, so I don't know what, I'll
Yeah.
punch him. Yeah. Well, before we move on to the last two questions, I want to remind everyone that in a couple of minutes, if you will want, you'll be able to come on stage, talk to us, and if you are too shy to do that, you can click on the bottom right corner and leave any questions in the chat box, and we'll touch those. Well, Wartooth, last two questions. First of all, what is the one tip you would give yourself coming into the crypto space at the early days?
I think I would tell myself to never burn a bridge. I think I would say that you never, like, this is a long and storied industry that we're in the very beginning of, and we're all pretty young. And if you do want to stay here 5, 10 years, understand that people change, understand that, like, you can't always undo things that you've said or done, or I don't know, people that you've decided are your enemies and stuff. Be really careful with that because you never know where people end up. You never know like what rooms you're going to be in together, and it just makes the whole thing go a lot easier if you never burn a bridge and you just try and make friends. And if you don't like somebody, that's okay. They don't necessarily have to know it every time. Um, I think there's this temptation to, at least for me, when I started out, to like take a stand against stuff and to like find those people that I thought were shillers and be like, hey, you're a shiller, and block them and stuff. But now that, like you said, that you see the humanity behind them, or you see them building something else that is pretty cool, it sucks to have to go back with your hat in your hand, or it sucks to launch your own product and know that there's people out there who are going to be like waiting for you to mess up simply because you couldn't keep your online reputation, I guess, clean from a bunch of arguments and conflicts that ultimately don't matter at all.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I feel like there's just it's like a spectrum of how you handle those things, you know? Like not supporting those things, keeping away from them, is probably the best approach to it. Like you said, I feel like unless it's something super drastic, and I've been vocal about a couple of people in the space calling them out and like, but those were really extreme type things, where my name was somehow involved and mentioned, so I had to stand up for myself kind of thing. But I feel like most of the time there's no reason to get involved in drama. Just even if you know that it will give you some views and some exposure, just not supporting is probably the best way to approach those things. Because even, it's like how they say, there is no, like, all publicity is good publicity, right? So even you giving those supposedly bad people attention by tweeting about them, talking about them, is you're just giving them more attention, which is exactly what they want. So yeah. And the last question is, what do you think making it is, and do you feel like you've made it?
I think making it is being able to spend your time how you want. And if that's, building something, if that's just retired on a beach, if that's trading, making it to me is the ability to wake up in the morning and do what it is that you want to do. And in that capacity, I've made it. Just since March, just since I've been able to build this thing and do what I really want to do every day, which is make this product, I've made it. This is making it for me.
Yeah, that's really awesome. That's a really good short answer. I definitely feel like having that freedom of choosing what to do every single day is probably the core of the principle of making it. So yeah, totally agree with you on that one.
Thank you. Yeah. And if you find something you like doing, even if it's work, then you've made it. You're doing your dream. You're providing a service, you're making a difference, or you are honing a craft. All of those things can be making it. It's not just, sitting with supercars and a big giant condo somewhere. Like, what are you going to do with your day?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people think that if you have to work hard or you're working hard at something, it's like oh, you're not free, you don't have freedom or whatnot. But if you do what you like, you're not working. You know what I mean? Like find a job you like doing so that you'll be able to put it into it hundreds, if not thousands of hours. And you'll enjoy every single minute of it because you're doing what you like, which I feel like is a great thing to try and achieve for every single person. Yeah.
I agree. I think that's it, right? You just find your purpose, find what it is you are here to do, and do it. And once you have the
Yeah,
freedom and the skill to do that, you've made it, and everything else you want afterwards will come from that.
exactly. Yeah, find what you like doing and let it kill you.
Yeah, I love it.
All right, let's take a look if we have any interesting questions. We have Fareeks asking, how frequently do you do Spill the Alpha? So we do them every second week. So in 2 weeks we'll have another episode. Let me see. Can you discuss the consequences of having your on-chain activity doxed? Shrieks is asking. Do you have anything to say about that?
Sure. So just your on-chain activity doxed. I guess I would say that you're kind of already doxed. Like just because there's not a front end yet, and there is already, but just because there's not popular front ends yet that will show that activity in an easy to read way, doesn't mean it's not there already. So the consequences of that, I guess, are just whatever the consequences are right now, which is that if you've done crappy things on chain, you're probably not going to have a very good reputation. Like that is forever on the blockchain, what you've done there. If you do good things, if you've built stuff or you've launched things or you've minted stuff, you've been there for historical things and you can stand by that activity, then I don't think you really have any consequences besides just good ones, good consequences, which is being rewarded for that kind of activity or being able to show it off at the very least to say, hey, I was here and here's my meme coin P&L and here's how often I hold meme coins and this is what I do with them. If that is good behavior and stuff that has been constructive and contributed to ecosystems, then you're great. If you have done kind of crappy things and you've been really extractive and really merciless, then I think the consequences are you probably won't get rewarded as much anymore for doing those things or from participating in things that are collaborative and are meant to be aligned.
Yeah, I feel like the best way to look at it is build a wallet or like keep a wallet that you wouldn't care if it's doxed or not. You know what I mean? Like just don't do anything that you would regret if people find out that's your wallet.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. If anyone wants to come on stage and ask anything or chat about anything, feel free to request. See, we have Waro and Marusha. Shout out to them. Flint, commentator, Tondi, all the good old friends.
Hello, Marisha.
Marusha, you want to come and say hi? All right, we
Please
have
do.
Iceberg. Hello, Iceberg. How's it going? Iceberg, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys, man.
Hey, mate, how's it going?
GM Delta, I've been following you for a while, so I just came into the space to see what you got here, and it's very interesting to see what Queen's Wartooth is doing, and it's like a more of onboarding people in to educate themselves, so that's good for the and
100%.
like that's the most important thing. So if you can incentivize that to the community, learn themselves about different things in the on chain and off chain, and have a repetition along it. It's very interesting. But I was wondering, Queen, and what's your thought about how are you sustainable to give the incentives for the people who's learning? Where are you getting your liquidity from? Is it from different protocols or dApps that you make deal with that is very responsible and doing the right thing and having good incentives through them, or how are you?
Great question. So we have the main revenue model is simply selling the NFT itself. And they're 0.1. And we do that, one, to create kind of this pool of rewards that we can give to people in stable coins, knowing that many of these people will not finish the curriculum and they will not ever earn, the maximum amount of rewards that they could. So that sort of subsidizes the other participants that do make it through. So that's our first kind of income stream, is just the NFT itself costs money. That also keeps all the bots out, by the way, and makes people invest a little bit in their education. The B2B aspect, absolutely, with protocols. We have those priced on a sliding scale where basically the more users we have, the more adoption we have, the more expensive it becomes to partner with us. As of right now, the partners that we have are just all at one flat protocol rate. But as we start to grow, as we start to scale, that gets more expensive so that we can be more discerning with who we let in. We also do operate right now based off of grants, both grants and angel funding, and then retroactive grants that we're counting on from companies like Optimism and Coinbase for all the transactions that our attestations are creating. So we have that in our revenue model. And then we have a few other different things that we're going to try and implement, like a shop, things you can buy for your dragon, things, special custom merch that you can get. We're going to try, and as soon as we have like a solid grip on the brand and people's attachment to their NFTs, things to buy for your NFT. We're kind of hoping to go more the microtransaction route with that, and I don't know how popular that'll be as an income source, but we're going to see. We're going to try it.
So what kind of EIP are you using? Are you using a soulbound EIP for the NFTs, or we can track the reputation of those people who's involving themselves in different protocols and like being active on Optimism, Superchain, and Base or Coinbase, and give them a head start? That's a good thing. It's a very, very good thing. I'm very impressed. I mean, you're thinking in the right way to onboard people and make people to like do some volume in different dApps. That's the most important thing, because dApps, all the dApps or protocols want some volume and like people to get involved in their protocols to like try them well and stay on them. That's the most important thing. So you are in the right direction.
Thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate it. And we're using 6551 as our standard, which means that your dragon actually owns these tokens that are proving all of these things that happened on the blockchain. So we're basically having your dragon own a token that you cannot interact with that proves that things happened in our protocol, and that prove that, the transactions themselves prove what happened as you interact with the dApps, right? That volume is real. You're actually going in and getting this volume on Optimism and Base, and through a little bit of strategic hope and planning here, should qualify for a few kind of cool, sexy things from the protocols that we are using. But the stable coins that come from us, that comes from earning those attestations, and your 6551 NFT holds those attestations to level up your dragon, change its color, change how it looks, change the accessories and toys that it gets to play with when it's in the app. But yeah, it all goes back to that 6551 NFT owning these tokens, and that's how it's proving that you've done what you've said you've done.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's a good thought. That's a good thought. I was asking what kind of stable coins are you going in? USDC, USDT, what liquid is USD? What?
USDC on Base.
Good.
It's awesome. Those are some really good questions, Asberg. Thanks a lot for hopping on.
All good, man. Delta, everything for your spaces, man. No problem.
Thanks for coming on, mate. I really appreciate it. You guys are everything. We have Waro as well. Waro, you want to hop on? I doubt he will.
Nobody wants to say hi to Queen.
Everyone's shy. I'm guessing that's a lot of people also that just don't want to voice docs, right? I do know that it's also a really big part of things.
Fair enough. But I do appreciate the questions. I think it's great, and it does kind of give me a little bit of just like, yeah, I am doing something. Sometimes I forget.
100%. It's really easy to forget, what good of work we're doing, whether if it's as a trader or as a builder or whatnot. It's much easier to criticize yourself. Well, not for everyone, but I feel like at least for me, it's much easier to criticize myself than to praise myself. So it's really nice.
Big time.
Well, I think you can wrap things up, as people are just too shy to come on. Well, we don't really have any other questions. So, well, I think that's pretty much it. Do you have anything else you want to add on, Wartooth?
Nope, just find your edge. There's lots of ways to make money here, and your favorite traders have more than one way to make money.
100%. I don't think there's very few traders on CD, at least from the big accounts that actually make money only from trading. Even myself, I am partnered with IDEX, obviously. I work as an advisor for a couple of other projects too. So thanks a lot for coming to everyone. It was a pleasure to have you on. Wartooth, Queensworth, thank you so much for coming. It's been really fun and really interesting to have a brand new perspective on this show. So yeah, I really appreciate that.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. It was great, and these spaces are great. It's so cool to see just the different people and personalities that I have, kind of been hanging around, and get to see a little bit more about them.
That's my pleasure. If you guys enjoyed, that's the most important thing. So as always, notes will be available on Monday as usual, so you can check out my profile on Monday around US Open. I'll be posting those. This space will be recorded, so if you joined in the middle, if you missed something or whatnot, you can just play the recording right as it ends And next week, we will have these recordings uploaded to YouTube, Spotify.
I lost Delta there. I don't know if anybody else did.
Come
I
again?
lost you there. You kind of tuned out there.
Oh, sorry. Well, I was saying there was new markets that have been added to IDEX. We have BNB and SUI now that you can trade amongst many other assets, up to 20x leverage, gas-free. You can deposit from many different chains with no slippage, no limits. So go ahead and try that out while the points program is live. It will be ending. I'm not sure when, but it will be ending someday. So enjoy it while it's there. You can earn points every single week and claim those points to IDEX tokens every single week. So yeah, enjoy that. There's a link in my bio for 5% discount on fees. So yeah. And yeah, most importantly, make sure to check out the profile of Queen Wartooth. You can check out everything she's doing. And I think it's really worth to see those things. If you want a dragon of your own and potentially have that dragon help you get a job, make sure to check out our I believe there's a link in your bio, right?
Yep, link in my bio, or just
Yeah.
studydragons.com, and you can mint an egg, and we will be launching soon.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, that's pretty much it, guys. Again, thank you so much for coming. You guys are everything. We really are trying to do our best to make sure that you guys enjoy it. And yeah, again, Wartooth, thank you so much for coming. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, we'll chat again.
Bye. Thank you.
See you guys. Have a good weekend.